In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam Allah wa rasulullah. We've been speaking for the past several weeks about what belief in Allah entails. And we all know that when we declare our shahadah, la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, every time we pray, we are renewing what belief in Allah entails. Today we're going to go into detail speaking about allegiance, because when you declare your shahadah, not only are you testifying that you will believe in the things that Allah commands us to believe in, but you are also making a pledge. The shahadah, or the testimony of faith, is also a pledge that you are making to Allah. You are pledging to have allegiance to Him, to the Prophet, and the Muslims. And I'm going to break this down today. What does it mean when we pledge our allegiance to Allah? Well, you're pledging to have sincere love and help for Allah. You're also pledging to have sincere love for all His prophets and sincere love and help for all the believers. You're also pledging that you are going to disassociate from the people who don't believe in Allah. That's what that allegiance is about. I'm pledging to have sincere love and help for you, Allah, and for your prophet and for the believers. And I'm also pledging to disassociate myself from anyone who doesn't believe in you. And unfortunately, guys, as Muslims, we live in a very crucial time in which many of the basic and the vital concepts of Islam have either been forgotten, or they're misunderstood, or they're neglected. Again, most Muslims cannot break down the meaning of that shahadah. Most Muslims don't know that we're pledging allegiance to Allah and His Prophet and the believers. And this is why, because we've forgotten and because we don't truly understand our way of life, so many of us are no longer aware of the qualities that distinguish a believer from a non-believer. Again, we think that wearing fingernail polish is imitating a non-believer. We think that having long fingernails is imitating a non-believer, when it's not. To imitate a non-believer is to adopt their way of thinking, their mannerisms, their behavior, and their beliefs that go against the laws. But we don't know that. And as a result, many Muslims today are weak. Many Muslims today have taken non-Muslims as their friends and companions. And that's why you can't tell a Muslim child from a non-Muslim child, because the children have adopted their mannerisms, their ways, their way of speaking, and all of that. So again, guys, that is why we have to take the time, like you guys are doing now, to learn the meaning of that shahadah, to understand the concept of allegiance to Allah and enmity towards those who oppose Him. And again, let's look at the shahadah. When we pronounce la ilaha illallah, what are we saying in English? We are professing that no one has the right to be worshipped except Allah. So with this, the worship of all other deities has been negated. We don't worship our children. We don't worship our money, our jobs, our property. We don't worship idols. We don't worship man. We don't worship jinn. We don't worship angels. We don't worship anyone or anything except Allah. Does everybody understand that? That is what we are saying when we pronounce that shahadah. And also when we pronounce that shahadah, we are testifying that not only do we believe in Allah's books and His religion and His prophets, but our allegiance is to them too. We have allegiance to the original Bible and the original Torah, because they were just like the Quran. But the original Bible and the original Torah do not exist anymore. That's why we don't read those books today. We're also testifying that our allegiance is to all the prophets, from Adam to Muhammad. We love Jonah, we love Moses, we love David, Solomon, all of them. All of them. And also we are testifying that our allegiance is to the believers on earth. The believers are those who profess to believe La ilaha illallah just like us. And we don't care what race they are. We don't care what color they are. We don't care what tribe they're from or what nation they are. You, as a Muslim, you do not refer to yourself as being us. You don't put yourself in a category with non-Muslims and refer to yourself as being us, because you're them. You're with them. You'll be raised up with those kafirs from your tribe, from your race, from your nationality. As a believer, your allegiance is to the Prophet Muhammad and the prophets and all who believe La ilaha illallah. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Indeed, your helper and your protector is no one other than Allah and his messenger and the believers. Not the race you come from. The believers of your race, yes. The believers of other races, yes, but not kafirs. Does everybody understand? This is a hard thing for a lot of Muslims today to get through. We have allegiance to our nationality. We don't care if they Muslim or non-Muslim. They the same as me because they got the same nationality as me. This is wrong. You got to correct that. Until you correct that, you will never be a person that truly believes in Allah. Okay? Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Indeed, there is for you an excellent example in the Prophet Ibrahim and those who were with him when they told their people, indeed, we have disassociated ourselves from you and whatever you worship besides Allah. We have rejected you. And there is now between us and you enmity and hatred. This is why Allah loved Abraham. He didn't call himself us. Prophet Abraham was from Babylon. For those of you who don't know, he was Hebrew. He lived in Babylonia. He rejected his family, the men of his nation, the men of his culture. He rejected everybody because he said, I am not of you. I am not one of you. You guys worship idols. I am free of what you worship. And now I am disassociating myself from you. We're not the same. I am not one of you. I am not one of your people. And he left. He left Babylon with just his wife and his nephew because they were the only ones that believed in Allah. And his nephew, for those of you who don't know, was Prophet Lot, the one who had to deal with sodomy. Okay? So again, guys, if you want to be a true believer, you have to stop referring to yourself as belonging to those who don't believe in Allah. You need to imitate Prophet Abraham. He's a great example. He disassociated from the people of his nationality and all of that and race because they were not like him. Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Whoever rejects disbelief and believes in evil and believes in Allah, this is the person who has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. So until we Muslims today can free ourselves of having allegiance based on our race and the country we come from, we'll never be a true believer. Does everybody understand that? And you see it, especially here in America, there's so much oppression. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with speaking out against the injustice of America, but some Muslims go too far. You get to calling them my people. They're not your people. Yes, the injustice. Black lives do matter, but so do white lives. So do Bosnian lives. So do Arabic lives. So do Hispanic Latina lives. As long as they believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, do not go too far to the point where you say those are my people. No, no. Your people are supposed to be the Prophet Muhammad and all his followers. Do you guys get what I'm saying? We allow our personal jinn to cause us to transgress the limits. You have to put that crap, you speak out against injustice, but detach yourself. I am not of those people because they don't believe in Allah. Does everybody understand that? Listen to what Allah says in the interpretation of the meaning. Follow that which has been revealed from your Lord. Do not follow any friends and helpers other than He. And those words need to be imprinted into your hearts. We transgress the limits in our allegiance to others. Okay? For the true believer knows how to distance himself. He can speak out against injustice. He can speak out against oppression. He can fight for the rights of those who have been downtrodden, but he doesn't transgress the limits. He knows what he is. He knows where his allegiance lies. And being so, the true believer would never take a fatwa or a saying over Allah and his prophet, just like he would never attach himself to a people other than the believers. He would never take a saying over Allah. But we find Muslims today who do that. If you look on Facebook, I'm sorry guys, I'm just going to break it down. Those famous Muslims who y'all think are scholars, those famous people, personalities that y'all see on Facebook making videos against the injustices of America and other places, look how they end up caught up. They end up becoming like those people because they don't know how to separate. They don't know how to speak out and then distance themselves. They become caught up that they end up caught up in their rituals that go against Islam, their practices that go against Islam, their behaviors that go against Islam. They sit there and be a part of it. That's what the Prophet meant. You are who you associate with. You are those people who you imitate. We have to learn to distance ourselves. That's how we avoid being caught up and being busted with our belief system tore up and tore down, because we didn't know how to draw the limit and where to draw the limit in our support of the non-Muslims. Okay? In regards to those people out there who call themselves Muslims, but they don't have allegiance to Allah and the Prophet as they should, listen to what Allah says and the interpretation, the meaning. Do they seek after judgment from the times of ignorance? And who is better to judge other than Allah for people who have certainty? Whoever seeks a religion other than Islam, never will it be accepted from him, and in the hereafter he will be of the losers. Remember guys, your personal jinn never sleeps. Your personal jinn wants to see you transgress the limits of Allah. Your personal jinn wants you to get riled up into the politics of the world. And your personal jinn will cause you to become caught up in the moment, caught up in the emotions, to the point that you end up worshiping something other than Allah. You end up being a part of something that totally invalidates your deen. We see it all the time happen to famous personalities. So again, guys, don't you become one of those statistics. Learn how to draw the line. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. I am giving allegiance to Allah, to his prophets, and to the believers. I am not giving allegiance to a race, to a culture, or a people other than that. Does everybody understand that? We're going to stop right here for today. Tomorrow, I'm going to go into more detail about this, because this is something that needs to be addressed by the people of knowledge to the people today, because you see it on many of your Facebook pages. Your loyalty to your race, your loyalty to your nationality, to your country. You know, even though this race and these countries, you know, contradict Islamic morality, Islamic law and rules, and these people are not believers. It's kind of sad. So we'll stop right here. If you guys have any questions or comments, inshallah, you can type them on the screen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika.